North Korean agricultural strategy. 36. From a 2 million ton shortage to a 2 million ton surplus in 15 years. Creating the miracle on the Taedong River. North Korean Workers' Party can do a market economy. After North Korea denuclearizes, enters a market economy, and completes 15 years of agricultural innovation, North Korea can transform from a current 2 million ton shortage to a 2 million ton surplus producer. The specific goal for this is to achieve the goal of doubling the current level of food productivity from 4 to 8 tons per hectare by creating 100,000 hectares of smart farms and glass greenhouses, expanding organic farmland by 200,000 hectares, and fully modernizing irrigation and drainage infrastructure. In the short term, 0 to 5 years, we focus on items that can be immediately exported with high added value, such as ginseng, seaweed, and processed fishery products. In the midterm, 5 to 15 years, exports of organic vegetables, fruits, and processed foods will be expanded to $500 million annually. In the long term, 15 years or more, the goal is to achieve annual exports of surplus grains, processed foods, and functional foods of $2 billion. In this process, the entire agricultural trade balance is set to return from a deficit of $2 billion to a balanced level within 5 years of denuclearization and to a surplus within 15 years. The total number of food crops produced in North Korea in 2025 is estimated to be 4.9 million tons, an increase of 120,000 tons, or 2.5% from 4.78 million tons in 2024. Production by crop is 2.25 million tons of rice, 152 million tons of corn, 550,000 tons of potatoes and sweet potatoes, 360,000 tons of wheat and barley, 200,000 tons of soybeans, and 20,000 tons of other miscellaneous grains. But these figures conceal serious structural shortfalls. The total amount of grain needed in North Korea is 659 million tons according to the World Health Organization (WHO). In recent years, North Korea's total food crop production has increased to around 4.5 to 4.8 million tons per year, but there is still a shortfall of about 2 million tons of the grains North Korea needs. This structural shortfall of 2 million tons is the starting point for the post-denuclearization agricultural strategy. The Juche farming method proposed in 1973 solidified the agricultural production structure from the existing multifaceted farming to a monoculture farming centered on high-yield crops such as rice and corn. This monoculture farming structure has caused problems such as acidification of the land due to large-scale input of chemical fertilizers, which has led to a decline in agricultural productivity since the mid-1990s. In North Korea, rice and corn account for 90% of total food crop production. This monoculture structure is vulnerable to climate change and is a key cause of land degradation. North Korea's agricultural area is estimated at 191 million hectares, of which rice paddies account for 26% and fields account for 74%. When farmland is classified by type, most of it belongs to cooperative farms, and the share of agriculture, forestry, and fishing in the North Korean economy is 22% as of 2023. Due to the nature of North Korea's topography, much of the farmland area has steep slopes, and in some cases, trees are even cut down to farm on slopes, so soil loss is serious when it rains a lot. Problems with farming on slopes caused by deforestation are also a cause of secondary disasters that amplify damage from floods and droughts. The transition from a cooperative farm system to individual farming or cooperative methods is a prerequisite for improving all agricultural productivity. The most appropriate reference case is China's experience of rapid growth in food production in 3 to 5 years when it lifted agricultural collectivization in 1978 and switched to a family contract management production responsibility system. North Korea has also already had pilot experience in introducing small-scale family-based contracting management through the paddy field manager system, so the fastest way to improve productivity is to fully expand this after denuclearization. The most direct cause of North Korea's decline in agricultural productivity is the absolute shortage of fertilizers and pesticides. Normalizing the supply of chemical fertilizers such as urea, ammonia, and complex fertilizer immediately after the denuclearization agreement is the fastest means of recovering short-term yields. Korean agricultural cooperatives and fertilizer companies, Chinese fertilizer companies, and Russia's Uralkali are immediate suppliers. This is a roadmap for North Korean agricultural development after denuclearization. The short-term strategy, 5 years after denuclearization, is to eliminate food shortages and normalize the agricultural base. 1. An emergency import and aid package is needed to immediately alleviate the 2 million tons food shortage. As soon as the denuclearization agreement is reached, a food support package from the World Food Program WFP, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations FAO, and the Korean government will be activated. It is desirable to design a structure that does not undermine North Korea's will to become self-reliant by designing it as paid support in the form of a loan rather than simple aid. If Korea immediately supplies 500 to 1 million tons of excess rice each year to North Korea, it will kill 2 birds with 1 stone by resolving South Korea's rice supply problem and North Korea's food shortage at the same time. Leverage the United States' largest grain export capacity in the world. A package to supply American corn, wheat, and soybeans through the Incheon-Nampo route will be included as part of the denuclearization compensation. This opens up new markets for U.S. agricultural export companies such as Cargill, ADM, Basin, and Louis Dreyfus, which serves as an economic incentive to support the U.S. agricultural industry's appeasement policy toward North Korea. 2. Accelerate the transition to production responsibility system by comprehensively expanding the field responsibility system. For now, the field manager system, which decentralizes actual management to small family units of 3 to 5 people, while maintaining the cooperative farm system, is legally guaranteed. China's experience shows that just switching to this system can increase yields by 30 to 50%. We will start with a structure in which 70% of agricultural production is paid to the government, but 30% is allowed to be sold freely, and the free sale ratio will be expanded to 60-70% within 5 years. 3. Mass supply of agricultural machinery such as tractors and cultivators for urgent agricultural mechanization. Currently, the biggest productivity bottleneck in North Korean agriculture is the extremely low rate of agricultural mechanization. We supply large quantities of used agricultural machinery, tractors, rice transplanters, and combines from Korean agricultural cooperatives, as well as small Chinese cultivators. The basic supply target is 2 to 3 tractors and 10-20 cultivators per cooperative farm. It is possible to increase total production from 4.9 million tons to over 6 million tons within a short period of 5 years, just by normalizing fertilizer supply and supplying agricultural machinery. 4. Establish a fertilizer self-sufficiency system early. In order to revive the production route of coal gasification ammonia-urea fertilizer, the existing Suncheon fertilizer plant and Hyungnam fertilizer plant will be urgently repaired and restarted. After denuclearization, when Russian natural gas is supplied, it switches to a more efficient route of natural gas ammonia-urea. Fertilizer self-sufficiency simultaneously reduces import costs by $100 million to $200 million annually and improves agricultural productivity. 5. Launch a soil remediation program. We correct soil pH by injecting large quantities of lime using magnesite byproducts into acidic farmland. We prevent soil loss by spreading contour farming and terrace farming techniques on sloping farmland. We are promoting land use readjustment to gradually return sloping farmland in degraded forest areas to forest. The medium-term strategy, 5 to 15 years, is the introduction of high-value crops and innovation in the food processing industry. 6. Shift from monoculture to multi-varieties, high-value added cultivation through crop diversification. We fundamentally break away from the rice and corn monoculture structure of juche farming. The priorities for high-value added crops to be introduced in the midterm are as follows. Ginseng is the highest priority. North Korea already has a historical reputation for ginseng. Ginseng and the soil and climate in the Kaesong and Hwanghae areas are optimal for growing Goryeo ginseng. The international market price for 1 kilogram of 6-year-old ginseng is $100 to $500, making it 50 to 100 times more profitable than cultivating rice on the same area. We are establishing a joint cultivation, processing, and export structure with Korean ginseng companies such as KGC, Nonghyup Ginseng, and Lotte. Organic vegetables and fruits are also key strategic items. We use North Korea's soil, which is less contaminated with chemical fertilizers and pesticides, as a counterpoint, and brand it as North Korea's clean organic farm. Tomatoes, paprika, and strawberries are grown in glass greenhouses and exported to premium markets in Korea and Japan. Brand power is doubled when linked with organically certified agricultural products from the Green Demonstration Zone. Medicinal plants and herbal medicines are also high-value items. The cultivation of herbal medicines such as astragalus, angelica root, and cheonggung from North Korea is connected to the immediate demand of the Korean and Japanese herbal medicine industries that want to break away from dependence on China. Perilla seeds, sesame seeds, flax, and hops are promising as substitute crops for coffee and cacao. Hops, a malt raw material, are aimed at the East Asian craft beer market, where demand is explosively increasing. 7. Introduce and expand smart farms and greenhouse agriculture. We build a stable year-round agricultural production system by applying the Netherlands' Wageningen Smart Farm model, that is, LED greenhouse hydroponic cultivation AI control model. Greenhouses will be introduced sequentially in the short term, and glass greenhouse LED lighting hydroponic cultivation methods will be introduced in the mid-term. Smart farm complexes will be built near the cities of Pyongyang, Nampo, and Wonsan to provide a stable supply of fresh vegetables to urban consumers. The power needed for smart farms is supplied by solar and LNG power generation. 8. Achieve vertical integration of agriculture by innovating the food processing industry. Switching from exporting raw grains to exporting processed foods is a key strategy to increase agricultural added value by 3 to 5 times. We process rice into instant rice, rice cakes, rice crackers, rice noodles, etc. Corn into corn oil, popcorn, starch, gluten, etc. Soybeans into tofu, soy milk, soy sauce, soybean paste, etc. Ginseng into ginseng drinks, ginseng capsules, red ginseng extract, etc. And seaweed into dried liver and seaweed snacks, etc. And export them to the Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and American markets. The most realistic structure is that CJ Cheiljedang, Desang, Pulmuon, and Orion jointly invest in North Korean food processing plants. South Korean food companies provide recipes, quality control, and overseas sales networks, while North Korea provides raw materials, labor, and land. 9. Innovate distribution through cold chain. Currently, the greatest loss in distribution of North Korean agricultural products occurs during the post-harvest storage and transportation process. The estimated post-harvest loss rate is 30 to 40%, so halving this loss would increase food supply by 15 to 20%. The three major tasks of cold chain innovation are the construction of provincial refrigerated and refrigerated warehouses with a capacity of 10,000 tons each, supply of refrigerated container trucks, and legislation of wholesale agricultural products markets. 10. Marketize agriculture and establish agricultural product exchanges. Promote agricultural trade in the marketplace and transform it into an official wholesale agricultural product market. By establishing agricultural wholesale exchanges in 5 cities, Pyongyang, Nampo, Wonsan, Cheongjin, and Sinuiju, we ensure price transparency and logistics efficiency at the same time. By introducing a futures trading system, farmers can hedge their price risks and establish stable farming plans. The long-term strategy, 15 to 30 years, is to become an agricultural powerhouse and export industrialization. 11. Make the South Hwanghae Province agricultural zone into a food hub in Northeast Asia. South Hwanghae Province is the largest rice-producing region in North Korea and the location of the Gangneung Green Demonstration Zone. We will intensively develop this area into a special zone for organic food production and export in Northeast Asia. We will create 20,000 hectares of certified organic farmland and enter into direct delivery contracts with organic food buyers in Korea, Japan, the EU, and the US. The Yellow Sea Organic brand can grow to become synonymous with clean agriculture in Northeast Asia. 12. Transform into a food exporting country and change its appearance from a 2 million ton shortage to a 2 million ton surplus. Once 15 years of agricultural innovation are completed after denuclearization, North Korea can transform from a current 2 million ton shortage to a 2 million ton surplus producer. The specific goal for this is to achieve the goal of doubling the current level of food productivity from 4 to 8 tons per hectare by creating 100,000 hectares of smart farms and glass greenhouses, expanding organic farmland by 200,000 hectares, and fully modernizing irrigation and drainage infrastructure. 2 million tons of surplus agricultural products are exported to Africa and Southeast Asia through the United Nations World Food Program, WFP, or exported at a premium to the Korean and Japanese markets. 13. Create an integrated agriculture energy manufacturing cluster. Agricultural residues such as rice straw, corn stalks, and soybean stalks are converted into biomass energy. We convert livestock manure from organic farms into biogas and use it to power the farm. Energy is recovered by methane fermentation of food processing wastewater. This agriculture energy integration model serves as the basis for carbon-neutral certification of the Gangneung Green Demonstration Zone and even generates revenue from the sale of blue carbon and green carbon credits. Let's look at the import-export balance strategy in North Korea's agricultural development. In the first 5 years of denuclearization, the import of food, fertilizer, agricultural machinery, and pesticides is inevitable. The import structure is diversified with supply sources including U.S. corn, wheat, and soybeans, more than 1 million tons per year, Russian fertilizer and wheat, Korean rice, fertilizer and agricultural machinery, and Chinese agricultural machinery and fertilizer. As previously analyzed, imports of U.S. agricultural products have the dual effect of structuring the U.S. agricultural industry's economic interests in North Korea while simultaneously strengthening North Korea's food security. This is a roadmap for North Korean agricultural products exports. In the short term, 0-5 years, we focus on items that can be immediately exported with high added value, such as ginseng, seaweed, and processed fishery products. In the midterm, 5 to 15 years, exports of organic vegetables, fruits, and processed foods will be expanded to $500 million annually. In the long term, 15 years or more, the goal is to achieve annual exports of surplus grains, processed foods, and functional foods of $2 billion. In this process, the entire agricultural trade balance is set to return from a deficit of $2 billion to a balanced level within 5 years of denuclearization and to a surplus within 15 years. This is a plan to raise funds and cooperate with neighboring countries for agricultural development after North Korea's denuclearization. In Korea, the fastest route is through direct cooperation between agricultural cooperatives through the North-South Cooperation Fund's supply of agricultural machinery, fertilizer support, and agricultural technology transfer. The Rural Development Administration's seed and cultivation technology transfer and the National Institute of Agricultural Sciences soil restoration technology support are key to improving practical agricultural productivity. The United States applies the Department of Agriculture's USDA International Agricultural Development Program to North Korea. Include USAID food aid and agricultural technical assistance in denuclearization compensation packages and create structural interests. In the U.S. agricultural industry through U.S. agricultural import contracts. The Netherlands is the world's leading country in smart farm technology, and technology transfer between Wageningen University and glass greenhouse companies is a key partnership in North Korea's agricultural modernization. Israel's experience as an agricultural powerhouse in the desert and its drip irrigation technology make it the optimal partner for modernizing North Korea's irrigation infrastructure. This is the best agricultural positioning principle for North Korea. The best strategy for North Korean agriculture can be summarized in 3 principles. First, food security comes first. Any transition to high-value crops must occur after food self-sufficiency has been achieved. Relieving food shortages by first doubling rice and corn productivity is a prerequisite for all agricultural strategies. Second, there is a structural shift from monoculture to multi-varieties and high added value. Over 20 years, the monoculture structure of 90% rice and corn will be diversified to 40% rice, 20% vegetables and fruits, 20% high value-added special crops, and 20% feed crops. When this structural transformation is complete, North Korea's agriculture contribution to GDP could rise from the current 22% to more than 30%. Third, vertical integration of agriculture. We will build an agri-food cluster in South Hwanghae and South Pyongan provinces that integrates farm to table, that is, seed improvement, cultivation, harvesting, processing, distribution, export into a single value chain. Once this cluster is completed, North Korea's agriculture will transform from a simple primary industry to a complex industry, including food processing, distribution, and export, dramatically increasing its contribution to the economy. Once 15 years of agricultural innovation is completed after denuclearization, North Korea will transform from a current shortage of 2 million tons to a country producing a surplus of 2 million tons. Next time, we will talk about North Korea's tourism industry prospects. Thank you.